in a world where anyone actually gives a shit about your opinions on film. A fascinating petri dish of film bro leave-ins that have incubated into a colony of squirming little reviews, teeming with words like impeccable, hypnotic, and ennui. Equal parts pithy one-liners, thirst comments, and full-ass IndieWire articles. This fall, one man will dive deep, drum up his last wisps of will to live, and embark on a journey to decode this enigmatic platform. This is Letterboxd.
Is Letterboxd relevant these days? Probably the fuck not. I don't know why I'm making this video. It was the first thing that I could force myself to write a full script about, to be so real with you. I'm just gonna be talking a little bit about Letterboxd today. What is it? What is it useful for? Is it useful? How has it evolved thus far? What direction does it seem to be going? Okay, let's start out with a little bit of background. Time to regurgitate some basic facts that you could find yourself reading the Wikipedia page for Letterboxd for literally 1 minute. Fact, founded in 2011. Fact, over 12 million users. Fact, Letterboxd comes from the numerous boxes of letters that founders Matthew Buchanan and Carl von Rando kept from hordes of young women who wrote to them, pleading with them to reconsider, as every movie date they've ever been on ended with some guy reading them all 23 of his best Letterboxd reviews. Definitely not just a reference to the black bars on the sides of movie releases to preserve the aspect ratio. Fact, did I mention it's a movie review site? Hashtag POV. It's the year 2020. You haven't showered or changed clothes in an undisclosed amount of time. You're using random household items as toilet paper. You've just made the decision to watch and review all of the Land Before Time movies and catalog each species therein. I wonder what it was that doubled the Letterboxd user base in the time between March 2020 and December 2021. Yeah, but even if the pandemic may have been the initial spark, the fire is still blazing, or at least going. The platform has been exponentially expanding in the years since, bringing in 12.2 million new users since March 2020. Now we're at 14 million plus. Considering that Letterboxd actually expanded a lot more in the time between 2022 and 2023, percentage-wise, it went up from around 4 million users all the way up to 10 million in that time. I would like to float out an odd little observation. It sounds to me like this kind of coincides with the exact period in time when a certain website became borderline unusable. Hint, it rhymes with shitter. Could that be a coincidence? Yes, absolutely. But the aftershocks of the mudslide of the website formerly known as Twitter.com cannot be overstated. But the niche that Letterboxd fills is clearly not the exact same as the website formerly known as Twitter. The interface is actually pretty good though, I'm not gonna lie. It has some decent functional features. It's got nice design. Hashtag graphic design is my passion. It's got good review functions, and I just think that it works generally for the concept that it is. It really shines with the curation and the social aspect of things though, because it's really tailor-made for people who want to talk about movies, and there's not really another thing that works in the exact same way with that same vibe. If there's one thing Mama loves, it's the ability to collect and categorize things in virtual space. Obviously quite handy to have a watch list feature. It can be genuinely so helpful in avoiding that evil purgatory of picking a movie to watch. Things that are fun. Number 1, making lists. It's like Pinterest. It's like Pinterest for movies. It's kind of a better place on the internet, relatively speaking. I feel like maybe that's because it's anchored in in actual specific real life interests that people have, which is movies. Kind of an interesting hybrid of experiences. It's kind of Tumblr-esque in the sense that it's pretty disconnected from IRL and also other social media. Though I have seen a couple people link to their Letterboxd, which is just weird. But one of the best things about it to me, stalking your homies on it. You get to judge them for their questionable watches. Bro, Andy just rewatched Kung Fu Panda 4 for the third time. Is he okay? And, you get to be one of 3 likes on their little reviews. Hashtag support small creators or whatever. Another thing that I like about Letterboxd, there are not influencers. It is the last bastion of the internet without brand deals on it. That's fantastic. And though there are people who have more followers than others on Letterboxd, there's very little personal sharing or parasocial stuff going on. I know that's a huge buzzword right now, so let's throw that in there. So it tends to be because someone actually leaves thoughtful or useful reviews that are good. But it has a reputation, kind of like a running gag, about Letterboxd being just flooded with so much bullshit that it's just kind of an unusable hellscape. And yeah, to be fair, I've noticed that depending on the way things are sorted, especially the entire first page of reviews for any given movie, there's a solid chance that it's all just unfunny sewage that you have to trudge through. Opening up the Letterboxd, get your muck boots on. Ultimately, I guess my thesis of this video, if there even is one, is that I'm not ready to write off the entire site as a now defunct product of pandemic-era boredom that has become solely a film kid pissing match for would-be funny men and hornies to mouth fart about the latest movies in pop culture. It's not just Twitter for rolled-up beanie wearers who could really benefit from a nice Jay and Lay. Well, is it? I decided to find out once and for all what the fuck is up with Letterboxd. Let's do some science on Letterboxd, shall we? So I have devised a clever experiment that loosely uses the scientific method to catalog Letterboxd users' vibes, as the scientists would say. After reading approximately a metric fuck ton of reviews, I found that I can sort them pretty much into a few different categories. Number 1, there's those classic one-liners that are occasionally funny. These guys I am labeling GG for goofs and gags. Then there's the poetic ramblings of, I guess, film students who are writing a blog post for school credit. They seem like attempts to get their film professor to go down on them. I don't know. I'm calling these pretentious poetry, or PP for short. And then we've got the genuinely useful reviews that give opinions or info about the movie that actually help me determine if I want to see it. These are useful. And then finally, those that don't fit into any other category, which I'm calling wildcard. These could be personal stories or anecdotes that are somehow connected to the movie, quotes from the movie, there's a lot of those, things like that. So, I went on my popular this week page. This is many weeks ago at this point. To be so real, it's so, hopefully any of these movies are still relevant. I just don't want to do it over again. But this is my popular this week page. It's a snapshot from this summer. It's August 25th or something. Maybe since it's outdated, that'll be fun because it's a little nostalgia trip back to Brat Summer or something. I don't fucking know. So I cataloged all of those movies. I needed to figure out how to get a sample size that was functional, but pretty much as small as humanly possible. So I just settled on doing the first 2 pages of reviews, which ended up being 24 reviews for each movie. And it was on the default setting, which sorts by review activity. At least that's the default on mobile, and it seemed like a logical way to sort to me. But take these findings with like a fistful of salt at this point. My scientific method is lacking, to say the least. Let's start with Alien Romulus. Now, this summer, directed by Fede Alvarez. Here's the summary. While scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station, a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe. It's got a pretty good cast. Performances were good, especially by Kaylee Spaney, who played Rain. In general, this movie gets fairly good audience reviews. Letterboxd rates it as a 3.7. That's not too bad, especially for something that is in the horror genre. First, most popular review here. I'm starting to feel like the Weyland-Yutani Corporation does not have our best interests at heart. GG. Every time they bullied Andy, I wanted to punch a hole through the fucking screen. GG. I can just feel people who are getting ready to complain about fan service, but I'm a fan and I was fucking serviced, says Mariana Neal. I guess GG. Even though this is not Sam Reviews movie segments, what I think, well, I'm glad you asked. I feel like this movie was fine. I wish I'd seen it in theaters because I think it would have been a lot better. Do I think that it does a lot that's new or original? No. Honestly, really similar to the OG Alien film, which I get the point of, like, bring it back to its roots. And it did a good job nailing that aesthetic, but, like, what are you bringing to the table here, honestly, in my opinion? It's not like it did nothing new. I really like some of the creature designs without spoiling too much. They do go in kind of a new direction towards the end with some of that. Their choice to revive Ian Holm in a ghoulish spectacle of, like, fuck-ass CGI, like, I know that it's supposed to look uncanny and that the android is clearly on the fritz, but what the fuck? Like, it just looked shitty and bad and was in poor taste and evil. I've cataloged in the first 2 pages of reviews, there are 8 Goofs and Gags reviews. There are kind of 0 pretentious poetry reviews, because I decided that they were all ultimately useful, even if a couple were written a little pretentiously. There were 16 useful reviews and 0 wild card. So there's actually a high proportion of useful reviews here. As you can see, there's 1/3 Goofs and Gags. The other 2/3 of reviews are entirely useful. Some highlights here. Some of my favorite reviews. 2.5 stars. This review is by Seth's Reviews. A decently structured reflection of the Alien franchise that regrettably kind of only really exists as a somewhat uninspired rehash of the first film. Not to say that's absolutely all it is, but it's really hard to look past much of what occurs. Throwing in a slew of cheap references to remind you of the franchise's better days, and without going into detail, you already know, it has the most perplexing callback that will undoubtedly irritate many people, including myself. User CIAN O'Neill. It's 3.5 stars. Guy next to me in the cinema was not only 15 minutes late, but the loudest fucker in the world. He sucked his own fingers after each handful of popcorn? Is that a thing people do? Say that salt tasted lovely, bud. Then he scrolled through Instagram while the facehuggers made their first appearance on screen. His girlfriend tried to make him put the phone away, and he straight told her to fuck off. The prick had the camera app open for what seemed like an hour before he finally took a picture when the xenomorph popped up on screen and posted it on his story with the caption, "Alien." He also took a selfie with his girlfriend with the flash on at one stage. I wish I was joking. Then he decided to take his jacket off when there were only 5 minutes left in the film. Insufferable bellend. Film was good though, 3.5 out of 5. Now that's a fun one. That's a highlight for me. This is the kind of good shit you can find on Letterboxd. Okay. Film number 2. we've got Deadpool and Wolverine. I haven't watched this one. I would like to, even though I don't watch Marvel movies normally, and I haven't in a really long time. I liked the Deadpool movie, especially the first one when it came out. Granted, I was a teen, but it seems fun. I would watch it. Pretty predictable ratio of types of reviews. Obviously, going to be a lot of goofs and gags in this one. Nothing too wrong with that, probably. I don't fucking know. All right, summary. This is directed by Sean Levy, by the way. A listless Wade Wilson toils away in civilian life with his days as the morally flexible mercenary Deadpool behind him. But when his homeworld faces an existential threat, Wade must reluctantly suit up again with an even more reluctant Wolverine. This thing has fucking like over 1 million ratings and decent reviews. It's, what is it, 3.6? Oh, in the most recent reviews, we have some key smashing. We have, oh, actually, this is a pretty good review. 4 stars by Scarlett. Only 4 stars because they didn't have hot, sweaty, gay sex. Nice. Good one. Good one, Scarlett. Very good joke. I like it because it's about gay people. We do have 2, surprisingly, not in the Alien franchise, first 2 pages of reviews, but in the Deadpool and Wolverine one. This is where we start to have some pretentious fucking reviews. All right. One of my favorites. God help us all. These movies hope that if they crack enough semi-homophobic jokes at their own expense, if they give the man-children enough corporate cameos, that somehow it wouldn't be exceedingly obvious that the only thing they're actually serious about is telling the lie that any of this stuff means something to begin with. Hey, look, it's the thing you remember, but not really, but sort of. But it's a reference, but it's a gag, but it's ironic, but also heartfelt. But really, it's a franchise reset, maybe a multiverse, but it's also a standalone. But... The sheer sweaty lack of confidence on behalf of Phage, Levy, Reynolds, and the rest of their Marvel goon squad would be impressive in scale if it wasn't so wretched in effect, devoting an entire $200 million film to sweeping up the leftover comic book IP of the past 30 years is not only an egregious waste of time, but a further circle down the drain than I ever thought was possible. The only people who will be pleased by this experience are Disney shareholders and overgrown fanboys, 2 prestigious communities who scoff at the idea that cinema can aspire to be something more than a content delivery machine. Deadpool and Wolverine is like your mother asking you to sort through your ancient toys in the attic. You open up the box of dolls and playsets and action figures, warm nostalgia flooding your brain. You play with them again for 1-2 minutes, reliving the glorious salad days of youth. What the fuck does that mean? Then you, being a reasonable adult, begin to realize that you just don't care about these things in the way that you used to. You've got different interests, mature hobbies. After a fun little diversion, you pack up that stuff and donate it to the local charity shop. As some contemporary child will certainly enjoy these wares more than you. Then a dude in his 40s walks into that store, buys up all your toys for $5 and then sells them for $100 a pop on eBay to collectors who proceed to stow them away inside airless glass cases, entombed like miniature pharaohs, never to see the light of day again. No longer capable instruments of a kid's imagination, they become eternal property, deathless commodity. This has 12,600 likes. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. This is so fucking stupid. Eternal property, deathless commodity. Like, I get it. Look, I'm disillusioned with constant commercialism and the state of creativity in media as much as the next guy. But, like, really? Give me a fucking break. Mature hobbies. Like, you can't enjoy, like, superheroes or, like, fun shit when you're an adult. That's illegal. Okay, I hate the Marvel adults and the Disney adults as much as the next guy, okay? But, like, there's a balance here. We gotta let people, like, live a life, maybe, and have hobbies. That I don't... This review was so much. It was so much. Okay. And next move. So Deadpool and Wolverine summary. It's got 12 goofs and gags, 2 PP, 6 useful reviews, and 4 wild cards in the first 2 pages. Let's look at some of the wild card ones. There's one that just says Scorsese was right. Honestly, I should categorize that as PP. That's fucking stupid. 1 star by Riley. Kind of like that one millennial coworker who still speaks only in Friends quotes and Harambe memes, who nobody has the heart to tell their peaks long over. I haven't seen the movie. Maybe it is like that. Maybe the humor is just all cringe and fucking stupid. I wouldn't doubt it. I still kind of want to see it. I bet I would have a couple chuckles, you know? Oh, I guess the wildcard ones are like the guy who dropped the soda. and shit like that. Okay, well, regardless, you know, there's a much greater proportion of GG on this one, obviously. It's gonna be, oh, I did some math, let me get my notebook. I had to do it myself because I don't know how to use Excel in a functional way. Don't at me. Wait, I don't have to do math for 12 out of 24. That's half. 50% of the reviews on the Deadpool Wolverine movie in the first 2 pages were goofs and gags. We've got 8.3% of them were pretentious poetry. A quarter of the reviews were useful. Interesting, okay. And then we've got 16.6% of them were wildcard. All right. Because I lost my It Ends With Us footage, or potentially never even remembered to film it in the first place, here's a quick summary. It Ends With Us is a movie that's based on a Colleen Hoover book. The book was kind of like a dark romance, but the movie has been rebranded a little bit into like an important story about domestic violence that definitely doesn't romanticize things at all. The press tour for this, I'm sure you've heard, was a bit of a disaster. Blake Lively was being weird. I don't fucking know. Anyways, long story short, the reviews for this are largely goofs and gags. It's probably the highest proportion of goofs and gags of any movie that I'm cataloging. It's gonna be 2/3 goofs and gags reviews. Essentially, all you need to know about this movie is it's bad. The acting is really cringy. The dialogue sounds like it came straight out of a Colleen Hoover novel, because it did. And yeah, that's really it. I'm not gonna glorify this with a longer response. At this time, there was a re-release of Coraline in 3D in theaters, so people were watching that a lot. Some highlights, my favorite reviews, were, it says, "I'm in complete awe of how every single frame is a literal work of art." True, it's a gorgeous movie, largely incredibly well received, critically speaking. This one is fucking stupid, but I like it. 4.5 stars. Other mother has a dumper. She doesn't, which is the joke, I think. It's not very funny, but it depends on how you sort the reviews, but there's not a best way to immediately filter out the bullshit on Letterboxd. That's one of the major flaws of the website. Because if I'm reviewing it, sorting it by review activity, it's decent. If I'm sorting it by when reviewed, newest first, there's a big chance that a lot of it's gonna just be like either in a language that I can't read, or just, you know, whatever motherfucker just watched it. And now I've discovered if you sort it by earliest first, that actually could potentially be useful for some of the older movies, because it's, especially if they came out before Letterboxd was even a website, you know that the first reviews are just going to be people who just started Letterboxd and are going through all the movies that they care about, or that made an impression on them, or just that they want to review. So a delightful film to watch in 3D. The stop motion animation lends it quite well to the technology, a beautifully crafted film. We've got superbly executed stop motion, blah, blah, blah. Like, this one is a really good review, I think. In terms of the hashtag stats, statistic, yep. On Coraline, we've got 15 GG, 0 PP, 7 useful, and 2 wildcard, making it the following percentages. All right, now we're gonna go to the OG Alien movie. This was in the popular this week for obvious reasons. Romulus had just come out. People were rewatching the entire franchise leading up to it. Alien, directed by Ridley Scott, classic. In space, no one can hear you scream, blah, 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 blah. the trailer that rocked the world in terms of editing style and completely changed movie marketing forever. During its return to the Earth, commercial spaceship Nostromo intercepts a distress signal from a distant planet.
When a three-member team of the crew discovers a chamber containing thousands of eggs on the planet, a creature inside one of the eggs attacks an explorer. The entire crew is unaware of the impending nightmare set to descend upon them when the alien parasite planted inside its unfortunate host is birthed.
It's got a 4.3 on Letterboxd, over 1 million ratings. These are the most popular reviews. If you're going into space, I think that you should leave your cat at home. He does not need the stress. I shouldn't have done that in that mocking tone, because actually that's so real. He doesn't. The fact that the alien murders all the white men first is so funny. What a woke queen. Honestly, yes, I love this review. It's so true. Staggering 58.3% of the reviews on this guy were GG. We've got one PP. There's more. When you scroll through the alien reviews using any sorting filter, like a decent amount, you're gonna find a few very pretentiously written reviews. There was only one that I actually categorized as PP. This was on the first 2 pages when I initially did this research. It's not there anymore. I guess it was outclassed by some other reviews that have more likes now. This is the PP one, I think. Throughout my years as a film fan, like, here we go. Here we fucking go. You know it's gonna be good. Throughout my years as a film fan, mainly unconsciously, I've searched for another Alien. A film that combines story, character, pacing, effects, cinematography, soundtrack, and a direction of a mountainous order into something tangible and real. Films have come close, don't get me wrong, but nothing has touched the cinematic perfection of Ridley Scott's horrific masterwork. There's a lot of phrases in this, like, masterwork. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you know that a review is a little bit fucky. So let's keep this simple. How are the characters? Flawed, human, delicately drawn. How's the setting? Gothic, oppressive, indelible, alarming. Pacing, tight, and tight. How's the direction? Impeccable. They have to use the word impeccable. It's a Letterboxd review. How's the cinematography? Gorgeous. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's a little much, okay? My favorite reviews, here's some highlights here, are this one by Ethan Vetz. True. And he liked his own review. What a goat, honestly. This one's by... Wait! This was... actually by Iowa Debris. I feel like this is her for some reason. This was scary. And Twisters. This one has, unsurprisingly, a lot of GG up in here. Twisters is so heavy on the GG that it might as well be a middle school soccer game. GG. GG, man. GG. Yeah. GG. You know, when they, like, say good game and they get to go to... I don't know. Was that good? No. Twisters. There's 18 goofs and gag reviews. We've got no pretentious ones, obviously. It's Twisters. What do you expect? What do you fucking expect? It's Twisters. And then there's 3 useful ones, a staggering 3 useful reviews, and then 3 wild cards. I tried to watch Twisters, okay? I really tried. I was like, it's gonna be a fun, kind of campy movie, fun little disaster flick to watch with the boyfriend. We couldn't really get through it. My boyfriend kept saying, it's the weather. Girl, it's the weather. It's the weather. Like, why do they need you to do this? All your friends died. Spoiler alert, it's in the first 30 seconds of the movie. All her friends the protagonist's friends fucking perish as teens in an awful twister. And then she's like a meteorologist or weather science person or whatever the fuck. And she has to be like called back into the field. And like, why? Okay? The stakes don't feel real when you could just not. No one is making you drive into a fucking tornado. It's the weather. So let's look at the reviews. Let's check out the Twister reviews, shall we? Twist and shout and come on over. Twisters, 2024. Chase, ride, survive. As storm season intensifies, the paths of former storm chaser Kate Carter, what a name, and reckless social media superstar Tyler Owens, very all-American protagonist names, good job with that, collide when terrifying phenomena never seen before are unleashed. The pair and their competing teams find themselves squarely in the paths of multiple storm systems. This time it's twisters, okay? Don't forget the S. This isn't French, we pronounce the S. So you know when something is plural. Multiple storm systems converging over central Oklahoma in the fight of their lives. This has 3.4 stars. It's not bad. That was gross. It's not terrible, okay? So that's why I wanted to even watch it. Well, that and my friend watched it, and he recommended it. So I was like, okay, fine. Reviews. You know, maybe if I had seen it, again, if I had seen it in theaters, I probably would have liked it more. If I had seen it while not actively in a bed with my boyfriend, we probably would have paid more attention also, if you know what I mean. But it's one of those types of movies. It's just good for that. It's good for canoodling. It's a canoodler. It's, you know, that's just how it is. Guys will say they know a spot and then drive you into a tornado. GG. Hi, I'm Glenn Powell. Welcome to Weather Jackass. Me pretending to be a tornado so Glenn Powell will chase me. There's a lot of thirst comments for Glenn Powell, okay? Let's get that out of the way now. Glenn Powell's clothes didn't blow off? Worst movie ever. A highlight for me. Karsten says, not to be a total film nerd, but I picked up on a handful of Chicken Little references. That shit was good. I loved the Chicken Little movie as a kid. And I really liked how they referenced the Spice Girls in the movie. And they had the little duck be like, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Got 18 GGs for Twisters. There were some fun wildcard ones, particularly, here's one. It's a review by Kit Laser. In 1996, I felt it. At 8 years old, the awesome raw power of cinema, of being swept away by Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, and flying cows. I've been chasing it ever since. My dad went to prison shortly after, and my mother's cancer caused her to stop taking her lithium, so she was prone to asking me if I had any idea. I might not have made it through that mentally unscathed, but these stupid fucking movies are the only reason I'm here at all. I say all that to say this. There's something about a crowd of people holding on for dear life in a movie theater while the storm rages outside that I can totally understand. I honestly couldn't tell you why it is that I was moved to tears half a dozen times during this blockbuster legacy sequel. Was it all that nostalgia, or deep-seated trauma and lack of medication, or maybe just Glenn Powell's dimples? Sometimes we don't know how it forms or where it comes from. It's a little bit of science, a little bit of magic. Holy shit, they poured their tornussi into that fucking review. Not a lot to do with the movie itself, or making me, know if I want to watch it, but damn if that isn't some impressive writing that could only be found on Letterboxd.com. Hello, I am back with my horse girl mug. My boyfriend is in the background, so if you hear shuffling noises, it's just a little goblin there. Okay, where were we? We were just dissecting Letterboxd like a little frog in a middle school science classroom. Okay, now the movie Trap is up. Here's the tagline for Trap by M. Night Shyamalan. 30,000 fans, 300 cops, 1 serial killer, no escape. Really cool, I think. They know what numbers are very well. A father and teen daughter attend a pop concert where they realize they're at the center of a dark and sinister event. So, a pop concert. This has fewer reviews than the other ones I've been looking at, but it's still like, 400,000. It gets a 2.8, so lower score, definitely, than the other ones we've been looking at. All right, let's get into it. The first review is my favorite. Zoe says, 3.5 stars. This is gonna ruin the tour. Before the movie, M. Night came out on stage and shared that he came up with this entire movie solely to give his singer daughter her very own concert film. He then proceeded to spend 30 minutes individually thanking a multitude of crew members by name, the entire cast and supporting cast, even actors with legit 2 lines, and told all aspiring filmmakers in the crowd to follow their dreams. M. Night, the man you are. And yes, the movie is thrilling, but mostly so silly and fun. See it with friends and get ice cream after. I think that's cute. That's a very cute review, and it makes me want to see the movie. I haven't seen it. I think that this one would be fine to watch at home and not, detract from the experience too much. It's not like you need to see this in the theaters type of movie. So, to summarize here, predictably, we've got 13 GG reviews. We don't have any PPs. No PP. We have 9 useful ones, and then we have 2 wild cards. I'm actually somewhat surprised that there were as many useful reviews in the first 2 pages as 9. A lot of people made a similar joke about the actual trap was sitting through the movie, fair enough. Okay. There we go. That's Trap. That's it. Nothing too special. No real standout reviews to show you. And now on to Furiosa. Another one that I haven't seen. I don't tend to watch a lot of action movies when they're released, at least. I think this might be one of the fewer movies that I've cataloged that actually get a majority useful reviews. A lot of people took this one seriously for whatever reason. As the world fell, young Furiosa is snatched. #snatched. Yes, she is. From the green place of many mothers. The green place of many mothers? Okay. And falls into the hands of a great biker horde. God, I wish that were me. Led by the warlord Dementus. That is me. Sweeping through the wasteland, they come across the citadel presided over by the Immortan Joe. Yes, love that guy. I know him. While the 2 tyrants war for dominance, Furiosa must survive many trials as she puts together the means to find her way home. First one is really fucking annoying because it's a Harry Potter reference, so boo. It's Furiosa, not Furiosa. Furiosa, suck my dick. Shut up. Never seen anyone act so nonchalant after getting their nipples ripped off. That one should be flagged for spoilers. I don't, I want to be surprised when a nip rip comes on screen. Shout out to that guy at the Cinemark who recognized me. So that's a wild card one, I would say. The boys are all here. Scrotus, Toe Jam, Chum Bucket, and of course, Piss Boy. GG reviews. We've got no evil pretentious ones, at least in the first couple pages, and then there's going to be 13 useful ones and 3 wild cards. My favorite review that I'm going to highlight is I don't remember whether I categorized this one as, I definitely categorized it as useful, even though it has overall, it's useful, okay? It's just a useful review. It's fun, it's good, it's a good review. This is by 24 Frames of Nick, who is one of my favorite Letterboxd users. 4.5 stars. AC broke in my damn theater, so I guess I bought a 4DX showing because my ass was sweating like a desert. That's how it starts. That's in all caps, which is why I yelled it. This movie begs all other movies to stop being so fucking lazy and get creative with it. Take the style up a notch and go bonkers. An absolute thrill, but not just even action-wise. A thrill in all learning and engaging with a grotesque world. Ooh, I do be doing that. Blah, 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 blah. At the end, George Miller, I will sacrifice anything for you to make infinitely more Mad Max movies. Chris, you gave me giddy little goosebumps, and what a chillingly fun performance. Anya, you are a queen. Holy fuck, how do you do it? Dare I say, top 10 revenge stories. This emoji. Very good review. It makes me want to watch it because it tells me things about the movie, and it seems fun. It seems like a good flick. So, check. All right, back with the horse girl mug. All right, let's get into it. Yeah, we have Aliens, plural. Again, Romulus came out when I started doing the research for this video, so Alien Fever explains why this is in the popular list. The sequel is by James Cameron. Of course, they had to, make sure that the as beloved a franchise as Alien was, you can't just hand that over to just anyone, okay? This gets a 4.1, so, very good reviews overall. First review, did the math, and I do believe on a purely technical level, Get Away From Her You Bitch does in fact pass the Bechdel test. I guess it does, yeah. GG. Alright. Producer guy number 1. Next on the agenda, what should we call the sequel to Alien? Number 2, well, I had an idea. There's going to be in fact more than one alien in this one, correct? Guy 1. Yes, plural, go on. Guy 2, how about we just call it Aliens? Stick an S on that bad boy. Producer guy 1, bruh. Producer guy 2, bruh. That was written in 2017, as you can tell. It's not very funny. It's really special, I find. This review here by Nathan with a silent X is really personal, and yeah, let me just read it to you. Okay. When I was an agoraphobic, psychotic 13-year-old in 1987, my most prized possession was a VHS tape I had made myself by recording David Cronenberg's The Fly and Aliens off of HBO. I watched those movies over and over. I barely went to school that fall. I had not finished the end of 7th grade because incarcerated in a for-profit psychiatric hospital for children, let out to go to an academic. I realize now that when Fox News calls the Islamic State a nest of scorpions, or Ted Cruz says we have to bomb the Middle East until the sand glows, that they didn't learn the same things from Aliens that I did. And I would be shocked if Ted Cruz had never seen this movie. I owe much of my abilities to get through truly adverse situations to horror movies in general, but also Ellen Ripley in particular. She was my 80s action icon, and she survived on adrenaline, fear, and necessity. She helped me have a will to live in the face of nightmares. I will always love and watch and re-watch Aliens, no matter what, until I am insensate or felled by life, as one day we all shall be. Wow. I feel like this review is one of those kind of rare little nuggets of gold that you find exclusively in the mine shaft that is Letterboxd. I mean, it's very Letterboxd. I can't really say anything else. I feel like the only other place you would really find this is relegated to maybe like a little blog that you would probably never come across, or like a Slate article maybe. In general, this one has more reviews that I had considered wildcard reviews, like quotes about it, stories about how people kind of feel about the movie, than some of the other ones. It has 13 goofs and gags, 0 ones that I found like unbearably pretentious, at least in the first couple pages. 4 ones that I was just like, well, this is just straight up like utilitarian, like useful, good review. Which is not that many, honestly, for the Alien franchise. A lot of people, I feel like, take it more seriously for reviewing it, but this one, I don't know, it had a lot of, like, personal kind of touches and comments on it. Next, we've got Prometheus, also Alien franchise. We've got 12 silly ones. We have 1 rare PP. Yay, PP. I'll read it to you also, because it's funny. to me. 5-star review. This is in 2014. The user Florin Scanlon reviewed this. Okay. Sometimes to create, one must first destroy. Why do we watch movies? Some would say it's just a way to pass the time. Others would say they watch movies for their entertainment values, the spectacle and escapism they provide. Others would say a good story is the reason. Others would say it's because of the artistry and craftsmanship that goes into putting together a movie, the process through which a movie is created, the work and effort required to bring all individual elements together and make them function as one complete and flowing piece of work. Others would say it's because of the themes and messages movies can transmit, the existential questions movies dare to ask, or the contrast with reality they provide, acting as a reminder to aspects people tend to overlook and forget. Others would say it's because movies make them feel alive. Movies allow them to experience different kinds of emotions and open their eyes to the world around them. To me, Prometheus is as complete of an answer to the question above as any other movie. Of course, there are some who watch movies only to unfairly tear them apart, Prometheus being a victim of these people whose voice unfortunately was loud enough to negatively influence others and taint the movie's reputation. But I digress. I'm tired of defending Prometheus. What I am not tired of is praising it, and no amount of praise I might give it will prove to be sufficient. Prometheus is brilliant. It uses the cinematic medium and language to its full potential to deliver a one-of-a-kind experience visually, thematically, and emotionally. It's what every big-budget sci-fi epic would strive to be. The length of the thematic ground, the science, evolution, cycle of life, natural, artificial, blah, 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 the birth of Jesus Christ and religion in general, blah, 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 blah. Questions regarding the provenance of humans, our place in the universe, our impact of the course of evolution. Oh my god! And it still goes on. It's on and on and on. It's still going. It ends with, ambitious, profound, and relentless, Prometheus is a colossal achievement. This has so many likes. Shut the fuck up. You lost me at, why do we watch movies? Why would I want to read a movie review that starts with, why do we watch movies? That's like a high school essay. Like, or you might as well start it with Webster's dictionary defines cinema as, like, oh my god, shut up. This is so insufferable and, like, cheesy and, like, bad. I don't, it's just so goofy. I think this review is the epitome of what people think Letterboxd is in their heads when you say, like, Letterboxd. Or when a film bro is like, read my Letterboxd, like, you expect it to be this bullshit. And honestly, over the course of this video, I found that most of the time it's not this. But, oh dear, when it is, it's just funny. It's just funny. It's a little silly. Anyways, let's move on, honestly. This one has 8 useful reviews, 3 wild cards. It's Prometheus, whatever. Okay, let's move on. I'm so sick of the fucking Alien franchise at this point and talking about it, but this one's Covenant, 11 GG, another pretentious one. I don't even want to bother reading it. It was really fucking annoying. Okay, Alien Covenant. This came out in 2017. It was directed by Ridley Scott, so kind of returned to the roots of the franchise. The path to paradise begins in hell. The crew of the colony ship Covenant, bound for a remote planet on the far side of the galaxy, discovers what they think is an uncharted paradise, but is actually a dark, dangerous world. It gets a 3.0. I think this might be the, worst reviewed and received Alien movie, perhaps. I don't know. I'm kind of just speaking out of my ass right now. I don't want to spend too much time on this movie. But I don't think you care, actually, so... Cut.
Not.
By the way, the weird noises in the background are, well, now a car alarm is going off. I was gonna say it's just my boyfriend drawing and taking caps off of markers, but now there's a car alarm going off. They just hate my ass. Like, they hate to see a gay guy winning, I guess.
Homophobic.
I can't, I'm so not homophobic anymore. They love gay people. Okay. Inside Out 2. You know, honestly, I kind of have respect for the fact that they didn't try to, like, do a silly little clever title or anything. It's just Inside Out 2. That's what it fucking is, okay? Like, what do you want from us? It's the second Inside Out movie. It's Inside Out 2. I didn't have any desire to see this in theaters, but it's still on my watch list for whatever reason. I think the reason actually is that it gets pretty good reviews, and the reviews made me feel like, oh, you know what? I would see this when it comes out on streaming. Well, I would pirate it. I don't think I want to give money to Disney directly, at least, to be so real with you. Anyways, Inside Out 2. It's directed by Kelsey Mann. The number one review is Where's Horny? Everybody clap. Oh, good. Very good one. Very funny. So funny. And then everyone else thinks it's their turn. The review section in Inside Out 2 is a lot less like a movie review site and just straight up Twitter. It's just straight up Twitter. It's people making a silly little, that orange bitch running my console like it's the Navy. I mean, real. Like, what do you want me to say? Yeah, everyone's making jokes about horny. This one had a staggering percentage of goofs and gag category reviews. It was 21 out of 24. That's however much percentage that is. 87.5% goofs and gags. What did you expect? It's Inside Out 2. At myself. And then the rest were wild cards. Okay, cut. That's all. Okay, next movie, Jackpot. This is a movie that nobody fucking knew came out. Period. That's it. Next. No, I'm just kidding. This one came out this summer, I guess. Nobody fucking watched it, though. And if you did, I'm sorry. You probably wasted your time. Paul Feig. Oh, that's close. Some guy whose last name is one syllable, starts in F, ends in G, directed this. And it wasn't me. Take the money and run is the tagline for this. In the near future, a grand lottery has been established. The catch, kill the winner before sundown to legally claim their jackpot. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. It gets a 2.6, very middling to poor reviews. Not every movie has to be the peak of cinema. Period. This one's kind of funny. A review by Jax. Everyone, we want to kill you. Aquafina, what is you talking about? I'm sorry for even like reading that out loud, but I wanted to point it out. This one actually shocked me. It took me by storm, caught me by surprise, grabbed me by the balls, etc. Because I thought this one was going to be all goofs and gags. I thought people were just going to clown on this movie and that's it. So, boy, was I wrong. This is one of the lower proportions of GG reviews of the movies that I'm cataloging. It has 7 goofs and gags in the first 2 pages, 0 pretentious ones, 13 just straight up useful reviews. That's the majority of the reviews. And then 4 wildcard ones. What's 13 out of 24? So 54% of the reviews on this movie's first couple pages even were just useful. That was shocking to me. I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know why. I guess there's not really a straight up rule for which movies are going to have the most like silly one-liners to wade through. I guess it's hard to tell. But one of my highlights for the reviews on this one was by Joe Lynch. 2.5 stars. Fun story. I was up for this movie for about 6 hours. Morning call from producer. I'm sending you a script. You'd love it. Afternoon call. So Paul Feig is now attached. I'm a fan of Feig's, especially... Me too. I'm a fan of Feig's. Especially when he began to meld other genres like action and thrillers and his improv-heavy comedy, so I'll admit I remember on the call saying, well, that makes sense, I'd watch that. Yep, simple concept, the comedy Purge. And I love John Cena, who's deaf having fun here, and dig Awkwafina in the right role. What could go wrong? Like he's mentioned in interviews, Feig was hoping to channel the films of Jackie Chan. If 90s Chan was the star of Jackpot, this would have killed! On the plus side, but I guess it didn't then. On the plus side, Cena once again proved to be great balancing action and humor, almost too well here. How could it be too good? The pure comedy moments like the introduction of Machine Gun Kelly as himself is where the film plays the best, and MGK is really funny in his scenes. Honestly, I kind of don't doubt that. I kind of want to see that. I do wonder what a slightly more serious version of this concept, without the goofy tone and physics-defying action, would have been with a more grounded action genre director that played the comedy more like an accent than a focus, more satirical. I mean, not me or anything. No, I'm not bitter at all, I swear. Extra points for solid use of turtle power. There's a Deep Blue Sea joke that did get me, though. This review is so ADHD. And also, who the fuck is Joe Lynch? He's clearly a film director, but who is he? Do you know who that is?
Clearly not the director of this.
Who the fuck is Joe Lynch? Am I stupid? Who are you? He directed... Okay, well... nothing that good. Never mind. Who gives a fuck about Joe Lynch? What a weird fucking review. It kind of made me want to watch it, though, for some reason. I don't know why. Anyways, cut. Got Maxxxine. This was another movie that I watched part of. This one gets a 3.1. So really mid, I would say, for reviews. Ty West directed this. Is that the same director of the other 2 movies in the franchise, babe?
I think so.
Okay.
The way I don't know.
Oh, let me check. God, having to do research sucks dick. Ty West. Research parentheses. A 5-second Google search.
I'm gonna say yes.
Yes, he did do the other 2. So, you know what? He fell off with this one, I'm gonna say it. Ty, Mr. West, if you will. Do better. Because it could have been really good. It's like a fun setting and concept to transplant the franchise to. In 1980s Hollywood, adult film star and aspiring actress Maxine Minks finally gets her big break, but as a mysterious killer stalks the starlets of Hollywood, a trail of blood threatens to reveal her sinister past. Okay, let's look at this shit. Reviews. Beep, boop, beep, beep, beep. So people tended to not like the third act of this one. I wouldn't know. I stopped watching it even before then because I just didn't like it that much, I guess. I don't know. This one is my favorite review. A Star is Porn. That's funny. That's just funny. This one is like a good review. I think this is solid. Love how West reanimates the scuzzy streets of 80s LA. Love the multiple instances of goopy practical effects. Love Mia Goth, I forget how to pronounce her name. Even if Maxine Minks is the least compelling character she's played in the trilogy. But all of these are cosmetics masking a movie with a severe identity crisis and one that completely flounders in the third act. Puddle deep thematically, characters lack dimension, there's no sense of cohesion, a baffling conclusion to what was a promising trilogy. I think that's generally the consensus of fans of the previous movies and like horror people. It's not every day you see a film shoot itself in the foot to this degree, where every decision past a certain point is a total head scratcher. Is how this one starts. That's fun. This review is by Aaron. Aaron, if you will. 5 stars. I just think that Maxine Minks cutting a fat line of coke with her SAG card is the absolute pinnacle of cinema. Yeah, it's kind of cunty. Like, I like it. Anyways, Maxxxine has a lot of goofs and gags at the first couple pages. We've got 16 goofs and gags. We have none that I found too pretentious to handle. There's 5 just very useful ones, and then there's 3 randos. All right, cut. This is Cuckoo, starring the ineffable Hunter Schafer. This one has 11 goofs and gags versus 10 useful reviews, so it's about evenly split on this one, and then 3 wildcard ones. This movie, we also watched this one together. It was fun. I liked it. I thought it was, it was fun and thrilling, and I liked some aspects of the creature design. Some didn't fully hit for me, to be real, but the soundtrack was phenomenal. This was directed by Tillman Singer. I think this was Singer's kind of debut feature, at least that was like popular. He is very European and he loves 80s Euro horror, which makes a lot of sense if you've watched the fucking movie, because there's a lot of references in it and a lot of stuff that frankly went over my head and would probably go over most people's head. It got a 3.0, so kind of mid, but I enjoyed it. I was like not wanting to shut it off, at least. So that's something. This is a good review. This is a recent one from today. Strange, creepy, unique, at times a little shallow, with style seemingly for style's sake. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. It was very pretty, and it was well done aesthetically. The design was good, sound was cohesive, but not a whole lot of depth there, perhaps. A lesbian always saves the day, I'll tell you that much. Amen, sister. GG. Does anyone else think that Longlegs and that woman would look really cute together? Yes. I ship it. Yeah. When I say I watch it for the plot, I mean Hunter Schafer. There's going to be a lot of those, I think. I was actually surprised by the lack of Hunter Schafer thirst comments. In the first couple pages, I thought that it was going to be just only that, but it wasn't. So, good for you, Letterboxd. I'll give you some credit there. A movie that throws its ideas against the wall to see what sticks. Some of it does, some of it doesn't. Fortunately, it features a zany Dan Stevens and a butterfly knife-wielding Hunter Schafer, so I never had a bad time. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summary. It wasn't a bad time. Oh, this one's kind of harsh. So messy, I have so many questions, but also don't care at all. I think I would not categorize that as a useful criticism of the movie. That tells me nothing about it, or whether I want to see it or not, but go off, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's it for Cuckoo. It was good. It was fine. The end. We'll move on to the next movie. Okay, now we've got Longlegs. This was an interesting movie. I liked the setup of it, the first part of it. I found very scary, very good, very atmospheric. I felt like it had a lot of promise. I was like, ooh, nice, like an art house, like well-made, well-crafted horror movie, yay. The aesthetic was great. They did a really good job setting up a narrative tension and making me care about the protagonist. Yeah, it was like cool. And then the last like half even of the movie was fucking weird, and just like I didn't like the direction that it went. It demystified and over-explained things at the same time as it added supernatural elements to it. This one has a lot of goofs and gags for reviews. There's 17 of them. There's one that I found really fucking annoying and pretentious. I will show you that one so you can determine that for yourself. There were 6 useful ones and 0 wildcard. My favorite review, shout out, 4 stars. His legs weren't even that long. Real. Another good review that I feel like really encapsulates a lot of my thoughts about it. It's a 1.5 star review by Letterboxd user Jake. And he talks about being baffled by the near universal praise, which I don't really think there is near universal praise to this. Honestly, I think it got mixed reviews, but whatever. He talked about kind of the marketing of it and how it was really brilliant, but then it created a huge letdown for a lot of audiences. He says that it was half-baked horror cliches propped up by art house style, which I completely agree with. The first 40 minutes are excellent. It's all mood, promises, setup without any of that annoying development or payoff. I didn't find the style to be overbearing, to be honest. I think that when they leaned out of that and into like other territory, the function wasn't there, but the form was still fine. I don't know, whatever. This isn't Sam Reviews Movies. This is Sam Talks About Letterboxd. So I'm reviewing the reviews. Good review. Here's a bad review for you. Okay. It starts with, first of all, this is a 5-star review, okay? Not critical of this movie at all. They also read into it in a very literary way that I feel like is giving far too much credit to the movie, honestly. This review is so fucking long. It starts with quotes. It's very artsy. And then after the quotes, we've got the little quick, like, snippy sentence, or clauses, not sentences. A mother's selfish love, a father's implicit evil, the daughter as a result. The family, a divisive portrayal of good and evil, two sides of the same coin. Like, I feel like the movie tackles, like, themes about family dynamics in suburban America for sure, but, like, come on, man. I don't know. This whole review is so much. That's how I'm gonna phrase it. It's a lot. It's much. It is divided into various sections like an essay with headings and Roman numerals. Like, just summarize it and then link to an IndieWire article or link to your blog or something. Like, don't do this. It's just a lot. It's a silly review in my opinion. It's really, really long. I cannot emphasize this enough. I get, yeah, that's it. That's it for Longlegs. It was fine. It was an okay movie, and the reviews of it, I think, there's a lot of goofs in there. I was expecting there to be more, like, useful reviews, but there are some good ones, and some that take themselves too seriously. Kind of like the movie itself, I fear. So, Didi, directed by Sean Wang. It is a kind of coming-of-age story, takes place in the 2000s. Lots of nostalgia here, and that's reflected in the reviews as well. Okay, and in the tagline even. It's for anyone who's ever been a teenager. I like that. In 2008, during the last month of summer before high school begins, an impressionable 13-year-old Taiwanese-American boy learns what his family can't teach him: how to skate, how to flirt, and how to love your mom. It's got a 4.1. It's got pretty good reviews, generally speaking. I really liked the movie 8th Grade. It's giving me similar vibes. So I would watch it. I would watch it based on the reviews. So lovely. I've never lived a unique experience, apparently, says Karsten. Goofs and gags. I pray my homies win the battles they don't tell me about. Goofs and gags. Coming of age is appreciating your mom. Beautiful film. I didn't really know how to categorize that. I think probably a wild card, because it doesn't really say much that's useful about the film. Lots of fun period detail in this, but the Facebook post that says Dark Knight Round 6 with the homies LOL with a grainy low-res picture of a bunch of dudes at a movie theater got the biggest laugh out of me. Every demographic deserves their own 8th grade. I like that. That's a good review as well. This one in general, I think it had a lot more reviews that I categorized as wild card, probably because it was really personal and evoked a lot of nostalgia for people. So a lot of the comments were just about like, I remember this from childhood, or I felt like this, or like this is similar to my experiences as a kid, or whatever. So lots of ones that I couldn't really categorize as necessarily useful, but nonetheless I feel like have a place on the website. There were 7 goofs and gags, 0 pretentious annoying ones, 9 useful ones, and 8 wild cards. My favorite review, the one that I'm going to highlight, was by Letterboxd user Ellis. 4.5 stars. Felt so charmed and immensely saddened by this movie. Simultaneously made me wish my worries were this simple again and made me realize that 13-year-old in me really isn't dead. I liked that. Okay, for the final movie that I've cataloged, at this point I was so fucking sick of the Alien franchise, I'm not even gonna show you any reviews from this. I'm fucking done, okay? I don't care. I'm not gonna discuss this at all. This was Alien 3, directed by Fincher. Huge flop for Fincher, I will say. 2.8. Now, this one is actually the worst received in the Alien franchise, I will say. Let's look at some reviews. Beep, boop, beep, beep, beep. Yeah. You know... okay, here's one that's... I said I wouldn't mention any, but here's one, okay? This one's stupid and pretentious, and I recorded it as PP, so I just wanted to shout it out. Yes, Matt Lynch, on October 9th, 2012, for saying a bleak, beautiful taunt, rejecting any notion of satisfying or exciting that to this day nobody quite knows what to do with. Movies like this can barely get made on purpose, let alone by a series of flukes and mistakes. He thought he ate with that one, huh? Shut the fuck up. Glazing that movie while fully admitting that it is uninteresting and not satisfying in the same breath. Insane. Anyways, this one has 8 GG, 1 PP, 11 useful, and 4 wild cards. Statistics. That's the last one. Cut. All right, so results are in. What are the findings? Well, Letterboxd is goofy, stupid, very horny to a fault. It can be a little weird wading through all those thirst reviews. There are a lot of seemingly gay people on there. Lots of Charlie XCX comments lately. Some brain rot, like this review for Saw 10. Amanda Young got her master's in cuntology, double majored in Slasian studies and slutistical analysis, minored in baby girlism, PhD in motherology from the University of Survington. It's kind of funny, though. Letterboxd is also annoying as fuck sometimes, given the density of reviews that are just clout-chasing quips as opposed to useful opinions. It's also fun because of said annoying as fuck reviews. The genuinely good ones, the funny ones, the diamonds in the rough of weirdness. It is also useful for finding a movie to watch for the most part, which is its primary function, so go off. However, where I think it excels the most is the social media functions, which is what it bills itself as, a social media platform for movie lovers. I mean, I love tracking the ridiculous films that my friends are watching and hearing their opinions about it. Sign me up. And yet, it's unlike any other social media platform. It is free from sponsorships, influencers, content farming, parasociality. Letterboxd users don't care who you are. They just care about movies. And that's kind of cool. 52.5% of all the reviews I cataloged were GG. So about half of all the reviews on the website that I saw, using the sorting filters that are the default, in the first couple pages of each movie, are goofs and gags, okay? It's half jokes. That's a lot. So I do completely understand where people are coming from when they're like, Letterboxd is all just people trying to be funny for clout. Basically, my conclusion does indeed support this. It's a lot of bullshit to wade through, and I completely understand those who just don't have the patience for it. So yeah, half GG. However, there is still a plurality of reviews, around 32%, that are very useful, in my opinion, that I cataloged. So this suggests that there is still hope. My most surprising conclusion was the low percentage of pretentious reviews. Considering how much of a trope it is to rag on Letterboxd users for being really pretentious, it's like either they're a goofball or they're a pretentious asshole, I was expecting a higher proportion of PP. I'll just say it. I was expecting a higher proportion of pretentious reviews. Say that 5 times fast. But ultimately, it was only 1.6% of the reviews that I cataloged that I found relatively insufferable. So say what you will about Letterboxd, it is no longer a cesspit of people who are jerking off to Jean-Luc Godard quotes. Yeah, that's the conclusion, really. The wind out there is crazy. I don't know if you can hear that, but apologies if so. All right, now for some awards. Woo, everybody loves the Oscars. Okay, first off, reviewer with whom I would least like to share a bathroom goes to Letterboxd user Shook1 for his, and I say his because even though there's no pronouns in the bio, I can tell with near 100% certainty this motherfucker is a he. For his super smarty pants review of I Saw the TV Glow. Here's an excerpt because I'm not reading the whole thing. I feel the discourse around it might distort a clearer judgment for many. Reading a lot of negative reviews on here and in other places, but no one just admits that the film might not work simply because of the plethora of flaws, because no one wants to fuck with the ideological side of it. Hurt vaguely anticipated feelings of someone hiding behind the old song of, it's not my cup of tea, but hey, you do yours. Cheers to that. Come on, everyone. Just say if you feel something is shit. The filmmakers will appreciate your honesty rather than you pussyfooting. It's giving, since it doesn't apply to me and I don't understand it, it should be thrown in the swamp. Best use of emojis goes to Letterboxd user Otavio for their impeccable pictographic summary of the Northmen. And it fucking, here it is, okay? I'll just show you. Actually, here's a description if you're visually impaired. Anya Taylor-Joy, eyeball, eyeball. Nicole Kidman, eyeballs closer together. Alexander Skarsgård, wolf, 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 eyeballs. Willem Dafoe, bells and ribbons, eyeballs, bells and ribbons. Bjork, eyeballs. Now, there's not many celebs who have a public presence on Letterboxd, pretty much none. That being said, best celebrity reviewer goes to Miss Io Adibri. Shout out to a Boston legend. My favorite review of hers is probably the one for Beau is Afraid. Ari Aster, if you read this, please DM me. I would like to connect you to a prayer line. It is a phone number where anywhere from 4 to 13 menopausal Afro-Caribbean Pentecostal women from the church I grew up going to will pray with you and for you on the phone for however long you need. You just dial in. You don't even have to speak. There is no pressure. Let them pray for you. Ari, DM me. Please, let these women lay spiritual hands on you. Contact me ASAP. Thank you for your very considerate offer. I hope Mr. Astor takes you up on this. Most evocative metaphor goes to Lucia with their It Ends With Us review. This movie is the equivalent of when you go to the dentist while being thirsty and they pour some water into your mouth just so they can suck it back with that wicked little tube. Really like that one. It really conveys a vibe. Alright, this one is Piping Hottest Take, where I was actually like, let them cook. This one's by Matt for Joker Foliato. I'll read part of it because it's long, but if you want to read the whole thing, pause. Plus, it's hard to come up with valid criticism when the main thing you're upset about is just that the movie is telling specifically you to kick rocks. And so, before the credits roll, as the hype train dies and the camera falls and lingers on a betrayed and broken man, leaving the IP fan service facade to fade out of sight, we see the true soul of the story stripped bare, finally crippled by the world both inside and outside the film itself. It's perfectly hauntingly poetic, and you won't convince me otherwise. But alas, now that it's all a bit more obvious, both the edgelord incels and butthurt critics alike are having a tough time coming to terms with not getting exactly what they wanted to either aggressively love or deeply hate. And so they're huffing and puffing with their arms folded as they realize that maybe, just maybe, this stuff wasn't really meant for them after all. Oops, based movie. Honestly, this review, along with a couple others that went against the grain here, made me want to watch the movie where I had absolutely no interest before. My interest has been piqued, Matt. You piqued it. And finally, the esteemed award for Best Review. And the Oscar goes to Wilson for this review of Stop Motion. Dude in front of us got head. I'll get back to that. Really, really cool movie, I think. Very creepy, super creative and different. Really cool animation, really cool lighting, super dope music. The violence is crazy and made me actually squeamish, which doesn't happen super often. The story had some issues, I guess. I don't really care though, I had a good time. So yeah, basically a couple showed up super late and shined a flashlight right at us and then sat in the row in front of us and she gave him brain. Crazy. They were like front row so everyone could see. Wild stuff at the AMC New City. Nathan's telling someone about the dome giving right now. It's really awkward. Making friends. They really captured a moment in time. And a hashtag true crime, honestly. That's fucking evidence. Oh yeah, unless you're my boyfriend or like my mom or whatever, there's like a 0% chance you'll have watched this irrelevant ass video about Letterboxd.com to the end, to this point. But if you did, here's a little reward. A jig for you, good sire, a jig for you, good ma'am, a jig for everyone in this little, little land. Jig for you and a jig for me. Thank you for watching Sam TV. Guys, that was Off the Dome. That was actually really good.